Hey guys, it's Ted Bogert. Welcome back to the TED Show. I am very honored and excited to have Coretta Anthony-Smith with me. She is running for Florida State Senate District 15, which we will get into later on. So for those of you who don't know what that means, it's good to educate everybody. I want to get the information out. She's got an amazing story, an amazing journey, and I'm very excited to have you on the show, Coretta. Welcome. How are you today?
Thank you. Thank you, Ted. I appreciate it. I am good this morning, and excited to be here.
Well, I'm excited to have you. And of course, I have to give a shout out to my dear friend, our dear friend, Retta. She's amazing. And I appreciate the introduction, Retta, so much and all you do for our community. So let's
Yes.
dig in. I told you before we went live that the audience loves to know about you. And in your bio that you shared with me, you've had quite the journey. Can you share a little bit of your origin story with us?
I can, Ted, and I have had quite the journey. So I was born in Naples, Florida. So I am a native Floridian. And my mom, she was a teacher at Lely High School. And on her way from a teachers convention from Miami going back to Naples, she and a colleague of hers were killed by a drunk driver. So at the time, I was 7 years old, and it was hard, growing up at that time without a mom. Um, and I did have my dad. Thank God for him. And he took care of me, and he made me into he really wanted a boy. And I was that girl who couldn't play a sport to save her life, couldn't catch a ball. I was scared of every ball. And my mom was a basketball coach, and my dad, he was an athlete. And here they have this child who is not athletic at all. And after she passed, he really tried to make me athletic, just did not work. Um, but we were very close. And unfortunately, he passed away from cancer when I was 16.
Sorry.
A very short journey. We found out in May, and he passed away in October.
Wow.
So that was another tough pill that I had to swallow. However, Ted, I would say it turned me into the person I am today. And because my dad was so like, he was just like a hard kind of guy, I was like, I cannot give up. He will be looking down on me from heaven, and he will be so disappointed if sit back and feel sorry for myself and just let life pass me by. So I put on my big girl panties, and I started applying to schools. And I applied to one college because I knew I wanted to go to Georgetown University in Washington, D.C. And I did everything on my own. I applied to Georgetown. I got in, thank God, because I would have been SOL. And excuse me, I got into Georgetown. And after that, I was like, I want to be a lawyer. I want to go advocate, fight. And a lot of it was, with my mom's death, like, the guy that killed her, like, he went to jail for like a year. Like, what was that about? What is this process about? And now, of course, the drinking and driving laws are a lot stricter, but back in the 70s, it was not.
No.
And so that kind of drew my passion to the law. And I went to University of Florida, Levin College of Law. I graduated in 1999, and I've been working as a lawyer ever since. And so I've kind of just aged myself. So that's what about about
We're a
26
child
years
prodigy.
now. Yeah, about 26 years. And so the type of law now that I do is I actually, help people who've been involved in automobile accidents. I do personal injury. We also do like insurance disputes, helping people with insurance claims if they've been denied, just fighting. I've really just kind of taken up that mantle and started just trying to fight for people in our community. And sometimes I get paid, Ted, and sometimes I don't. And that's all, well and good, as long as I feel like I'm doing a service for our community.
There's your public servant heart right there. Let me ask you to go back a little bit. What was it like at 16? Because I know you're getting close to being an adult, but you're still a child. You're still an adolescent. Where did you draw the strength from? Did you have family around you? Did you, because you're orphaned at that age,
Yeah.
technically. So 16, I know all 16-year-olds think they have the world figured out, but they don't.
Yeah.
What was the support like around there? Who'd you draw from?
And I was the biggest know-it-all. So just to let you know, I was the biggest know-it-all. You're absolutely right about 16-year-olds. And when my son was 16, it was payback time. My grandmother, she was my maternal grandmother. She was a very driving force in my life. Um, and she was a very strong person. I still remember when I went away to college and I called her. I was like, Grandma, it's cold here. I want to come back home. Maybe I can go to University of Miami or University of Florida. And I was just crying. And she was like, she consoled me. And then guess what? The next day in the mail, I got a heater. So I was complaining about the cold. And she was like, yeah, here's a heater. You're not coming home. You're going to stay there. You're going to get a business degree. You're going to do this. Yes. And she was just like, the cold, we can solve that. Here's a heater. There you go. And so she was really there for me. And I wish she were still here to see the journey that I'm taking now.
It's beautiful homage. Thank you for sharing that. It's always interesting to me because we all have that. Where did we draw our strength from, or the pivotal moments, milestones in our lives? And usually it goes back to some sort of parental, mentor, grandparent figure. What a blessing that you had that. One last question about your past, because I'm all about getting to know the person. And I love a human story like this where there's overcoming. You might not view it that way, but looking in from the outside, that's a lot to overcome at 7 and 16. How did that all impact you as a mom?
As a mom, so I would say I have one son, and and maybe it's just I'm harder on myself than most people. Like you said, I probably don't see my story that way, and I don't. But I was so excited to have like my own little family, so I did. I overcompensated for a while. I was that helicopter mom, and I was always thinking, and then I was always afraid, Ted, to be completely honest with you, and I must really like you because I'm usually not dishonest. You're getting to me, but I was always afraid that something was going to happen to him. So that was like my biggest fear, is that he was going to be taken from me, and that was hard to deal with. I had to overcome that. So, and I had to actually put those big girl panties back on, and like my husband to go away to college. So I was like, instead of him staying here, I was like, he needs to grow up. And no matter, I know what is best for him. So he is going to school now in Washington, D.C., which was hard because I was like, but I can't have him be living in my basement at 30 years old because I'm afraid of what life is going to throw at him. He has to be prepared for it. So that was very hard. And as I forgot to turn my phone off and he's calling me now.
That's a perfect moment. I love it.
Yeah, perfect moment. But so that was hard for me. So as a mom, I overcompensated a lot, and I was always afraid that something was going to happen to him. But him going away to school, and now he's just completed his freshman year.
Awesome.
And he got back home yesterday. And I was like, see, Coretta, it was okay. It was, you did it. You did a whole year.
Yes.
And so.
Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing your heart on that. I'm always amazed at people, and I know you don't look at it, but I think when you lose a parent at a young age, it just changes your DNA in some way, shape, or form. And sometimes it doesn't come to fruition until you begin your own family or your own adult journey. And so thank you for sharing that. We've talked about it. You mentioned it before. You want to give back. You obviously give back in your practice. Tell me about the desire. Where did the desire come to go further? Because there's a lot of people who give back and they volunteer for organizations. It's a completely different thing to run for office. So what was the why behind that?
So the why, and it was not. And it's not something I contemplated for years. So just since we're keeping it real, and I've been keeping it real with you the whole time. So I do a lot of work where, like I said, insurance companies deny claims. And most of the time they're not legitimate denials. For example, like the last one I had was a guy, and they're usually minorities. He was Hispanic. and they said they didn't want to pay for his car, which was it was a brand new car, $20,000 in damage, because they said, oh, when you took out your application, you told us that you were married and you are not married to your fiance, so we're denying the claim. So something, and then he was paying that money out of pocket, and we ultimately ended up getting them to resolve that case. But something that and he was like, why would I say I'm married? We're engaged. He was like, and we're excited we're engaged. So we said we were engaged. You know how engaged people are. They tell everybody they're engaged, and the marriage date. And he was like, we wouldn't. He was just like, so maybe we don't even have the same last name. Maybe the agent made a mistake, and then they call it fraud. And then they report you. Yes, they can report you to DMV for not having insurance at the time of an accident, or they can report you, to the mortgage company if they've denied it or rescinded your policy. And so not this guy, but having a grown man cry to you on the phone about something that's impacting their lives that is an honest mistake, it is not being accused of fraud, that tugs at my heartstrings. And I was looking at where we are, and I've been to Tallahassee before. So I've been to Tallahassee to, argue before committees, but as a layperson. And I'm going to be honest, most of the time I go, I feel like they're not really listening. It's just, some type of performance that they're just going through, procedures that they have to follow, but they're not really listening. And so when I started looking at the bills that were being filed, I started looking at what our legislatures were saying during committee. I started looking at how they were voting, and I was like, this has to change. Nothing good is coming for the people. We need new leadership. We need new ideas. We need people who've been on the ground and we hear these real life stories, not someone sitting up in a glass ivory tower, and glass and ivory contradictory, but in an ivory tower looking down on people, telling us what we think our problems are. Yes. And so that's what actually made me decide to run. I just got tired, Ted. I was like, you know what? I'm just tired. I'm tired of this. And at this point in my life, my son's out of the house. I should be relaxing, starting to go on vacation. Starting to go on vacations. And then I was just like, but then how is that giving back? How is that teaching me the values that my parents instilled in me? Because if someone wouldn't have stepped up and helped me, like you were talking about, getting me through those hard times and having my back, it's not giving back to the community. It's not showing me the values that, God blessed upon me. And so I feel like the citizens deserve a leader that they can trust with values that mirror theirs. And I don't feel like we have that right now.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing that. I think it's so important for constituents, and we're going to talk about District 15. It's so important for people to understand the passion, because as you know, part of the challenge is people don't understand even what districts they're in, and they don't know the people. And even though you all do so much to try to promote either on social media or whatever media platform, is people, when they get to the voting, it's usually this eeny, meeny, miny, mo scenario. And so for people to get to know the candidate is why I utilize my platform all the time to introduce people to the people who have the servant's heart who are running. So thank you for sharing that. Let me ask you about Florida State Senate District 15. First, explain what that means, and then tell us what District 15 covers. What area does it cover?
Okay. And Ted, you are so right. Most people do not understand it. They don't even understand the difference that and I think it's part of some news organizations, they get confused. They don't even realize the difference between a state raise and a federal raise, because, a lot of people will say, what are you going to do about tariffs or immigration, which is a federal issue? So I appreciate that you do have this platform so that we can just sit down and kind of talk about it, and you can ask questions on behalf of the people to make sure that they do understand. So Senate District 15 there are 40 senators in the state of Florida. And so District 15 is the seat for one of those 40 spots. And it is a very big district for Orange County, Florida. So it covers all the way up, and it's a very weird drawn map. You can see where they did the redistricting, because it looks like somebody did this. So it goes all the way up from a part of Maitland, a little bit of Winter Park, Apopka, all of Apopka and southern Apopka, all of Pine Hills, all of College Park, all of Ocoee. I live in Gotha, so there's like a part of Gotha literally goes like this. So I might be in the district and somebody down the street may not.
Wow.
A part of Gotha, because Gotha is this big. Um, a little bit of Winter Garden, not all of Winter Garden, even that Tildenville, and even a little bit of Oakland. So that's how big, even a little bit of Windermere. I'm sorry, I forgot that too, like a sliver of a street in Windermere. So it is the only way someone will know if what district they're in probably is if they remember voting or in the past. And this is a seat it's open because of the death of Senator Geraldine Thompson. And so they can recall voting for her since that was a major election last year, or you can go and put in your address at Florida House of Representatives, and then they can tell you your district, and it's District 15, or you can look on your voter's registration card.
Thank you for sharing that, because I think a lot of people get confused because of the way the legislature or the redistricting, and it literally is just how you described it, I think is what really confuses people.
It does. And then they're going through redistricting again right now. So people who are running for county seats, county commission seats, don't really know if they're even going to live in that district at the time of the election, which is crazy to me.
It's so wild. And I know that adds to the reason why people get confused. We could talk all day about voter apathy and the reason behind that. But it's just so important that you all get out and vote. I want you to get out.
It's very important. I tell no matter what, it's very important. In an election like this, it typically has lower voter turnout. Voters usually just turn out for presidential elections, not realizing that your local elections probably have more impact on your life because that governs your day-to-day life. Your county commissioners, city commissioners, representatives, state senators, those are the people who regulate the laws that govern our everyday lives. And I don't think people realize that.
They don't. And so, I mean, I think we're learning, but the more we can get the word out like this and the more people understand, the better. When is the election? Is it a special election?
It is a special election. So it is June 24th. It is the date of my son's birthday.
Oh, I love that.
So I tell everybody, I say, it's ordained. It's 0624. Everything I have says 0624. You know, all my email addresses and stuff like that, 0624. So the election itself is 0624. And then early voting starts from June 14th through June 22nd. And I believe people will be getting their mail-in ballots on May 15th. So I think we have like 46 days left, which is a very short time frame.
And just for the record on the mailing ballots, because I've had several candidates who've come on and we've been talking about that. If you registered to get a vote by mail, you need to re-register if I'm not mistaken. You have to go back out. So even if you did it before for the presidential election, let's say, you need to go back out and do that. And so you can Google that, or you can reach out to me, or I'll put it in the links below and you all can do it. So if you think you're registered for vote by mail, don't be late on that. Make sure you re-register.
Yes, you are probably not. Most people, when I am out canvassing, because that's really how I'm trying to get my name out there, Ted, is by canvassing, going out, meeting actual voters, and I'm making sure to tell everyone, hey, listen, if that vote by mail, you have to re-request it. And a lot of people do not know that.
So with all, and as we wrap up, with all of that district, it represents, to me, such a broad stroke of socioeconomic and different challenges. And we're a giant, Orange County is just ginormous, really, when you think about it. What are some of the goals, or maybe top two if you want, or even number one goal that you want to accomplish after you're elected?
So my top two goals are insurance, and that's because I did it. And there is an insurance crisis in Florida. We have an issue and we have an issue on both sides. We have an issue with the premiums are skyrocketing. And then we also have insurance companies not paying claims, and then allegedly insurance companies leaving the state. So we need to have a balance, and that is a bipartisan issue. It is not something that's Democrat, Republican, NPA. We all have insurance. You have house insurance, you have car insurance, you have some type of insurance. And so that is and I've been doing insurance law. Like even when I first got out of college, I worked for an insurance company. So insurance is my thing. I completely understand insurance. And I do not feel like we have enough transparency between the citizens of the state of Florida, insurance companies, and our legislature. So I need to rectify that. And I think what trickles down from insurance is affordable housing. I think that it all kind of rolls in together. And if people, even if you have a house, if you can't afford the property insurance on it, you can't really get the house because most people escrow in the insurance, the taxes and insurance. So they're all related to me. And those are my top goals. And that's why they are my top goals, because I feel like, and that's what I hear a lot of people in my community complaining about are the insurance rates and not having claims not paid. So that's why I'm focusing on that first. And I do believe things trickle down from there and we can slowly start resolving other issues, because these issues will not be fixed overnight, Ted.
No, they won't.
They will not. And we have to work together as a community. We have to work with our local community leaders to fix the issues that are currently hitting our community.
Well said. I love it. I believe everything that you said because I happen to be in the insurance industry and have been in it for 30 plus years. And the crisis itself is it's overwhelming. I also happen to be in the lending side of things too. So when they come in and that insurance is through the roof and it messes up their debt to income and all of that good stuff, it's just a ripple effect. And so
Right.
I love both of those. And that's what I hear people talking about all the time. So,
and that's what I said, no matter your socioeconomic level, education, that is an issue that hits us all.
Yes. All right, Coretta, tell us where the people can find you best. I know we have votecoretta.com scrolling across the bottom. Is that the best place that they can find out more about you, what your all the things that you shared today as far as what you want to do, the district, what have you? Is that the best place for them to visit?
Votecoretta.com, and from there it can take you to different links. So that's our main page, and then you can go, if you're a social media person, you can go to Instagram or Facebook. If you want to endorse or volunteer or contribute, everything, that is the main page, and you can do everything from that. And I really appreciate you having me here today, Ted.
What a joy. Definitely a joy listening to you. Thank you for sharing your story. I appreciate that very much. You all get out and vote. If you are in that district, you think you touch that district, you should really go to votecoretta.com and take a look. Regardless, though, there are special sessions coming up. We have a lot of elections on the horizon, and it's so important for you to make sure that you're registered properly. If you're a vote by mail person, make sure that you re-register. But take the voting seriously. If anything, we have learned in the last couple of years that every level of government that you vote for matters. So don't think your vote doesn't matter. Coretta, what a blessing to have you on. Thank you so much. Go to votecoretta.com, you all, and check out social media and all of that good stuff. Thanks so much, Coretta. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Ted. All right. Have a wonderful day.
You too.
All right,
thanks, everybody. We'll see you soon.